welcome back to another edition of Planning Pulse. Today is another continuation of our series around missed financial planning opportunities based off of your age. And today we're talking to 40-year-olds. Now, this is a very fun age demographic to work with because this is part of introducing more planning capabilities, right? I think this is kind of the fork in the road where it really opens up a little bit more. So I'm going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to start with the answer in the front end of the video, and then as you're thinking about what the answer is, we're going to dive into a little bit of the weeds, and it'll become a clear picture for you of what is typically missed by 40-year-olds. I think the biggest opportunity that's missed is the fact that scenarios will start popping up in your 40s. So ideally, you've already started your career, incrementally you've grown in terms of how much income you're bringing in, you've grown with your company that you're at, and with that growth comes probably added goals, right? On top of the added goals, maybe you have a growing family where the kids are a little bit older and now education costs are starting to come about. You have parents that are getting older, and then I've heard some conversations where your parents have a long-term care event, which has gotten the late 40-year-olds into thinking about their own mortality. Different scenarios are starting to creep in, and it's funny because these scenarios pop up when least expected. And I swear it always happens like this. It's, I'm out to lunch, I'm out to dinner, I'm out, around town with the family, and I'll see a client and they'll come up and they say, "Hey, Eli, you know what? I got 2 minutes for you, but I've been thinking about something, right? I've been thinking about 2 different goals that I have and how to maneuver these and make my financial plan work. Here's what I'm thinking about." And they'll throw out 2 different goals and they'll say, "What do you think? What should I do?" And my answer is always the same. Well, it depends, right? And I can think of 9 of you out there that I know watch this video that are probably cursing me right now because I think I'm talking directly to you. Well, I am, right? It does depend. And it depends because there are so many different variables that go into the analysis of what you should do next. And the risk is that you make a wrong money decision that puts you behind the 8 ball. Right? And you start sacrificing some of your long-term goals for short-term wants. And so that's where I see the biggest pitfalls in financial planning for 40-year-olds is there's normally 1 or 2 decisions that are really the pivotal point of either moving forward at a drastic growth rate or setting yourself back. So let me introduce a couple of scenarios that I've heard over the past month when I've been talking to 40-year-olds. So I'm just going to list them out here. I've done analysis where people want to talk about saving for a home versus saving for a retirement, saving for retirement or saving for my kids' college education, building an emergency fund versus paying off debt. That's a popular one. And saving for a new home versus upgrading your current house. Now, when you're talking about these different scenarios or different topics, the way that I think about these and going into a conversation is I really want to look at where individuals are at in their financial journey. And it's always nice to have a plan to fall back on because we've already kind of listed out priorities in our engagement. But if we just focus on one of these, saving for a home versus saving for retirement, think about the answer and how it could change. If you came to me and we did a financial plan and we kind of learned that you were behind the 8 ball a little bit, right? I think that changes the answer of should I save for a home or save for retirement. If you're a little bit behind on retirement or a little bit behind on debt or a little bit behind on your insurance coverage, again, variables that change the answer. Now, if you were ahead of the 8 ball, right? And you're starting to knock down some of these short-term goals and you're still putting money towards long-term retirement, that answer is different as well. So that's the whole point of this. And so when I approach a conversation, I'm talking about what are your goals, what is the timeline? And so I wanted to introduce this graphic that I got from JP Morgan. And conceptually, I like the way this looks. I don't necessarily agree that maybe that's the order in which I would do it in, because it depends again on the client. But in our conversations, this is what I'm doing. I'm talking to the clients, or talking to clients about, let's create a priority ladder, and then we're going to assign time frames to each one. And then through the planning of it, we're going to say, is this realistic or not? Does this goal need to be pushed back? Is it still important in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? So these are how the conversations start, but I wanted you to visualize how we are helping people map out their priorities and timelines. Now, what that causes is it causes people to have a process, a defined process around how they're growing, how their net worth is growing, and that's what we review every single year, is that growth of your net worth. But everyone should have something like this, right? I definitely encourage everyone who's listening to this to reach out to us. Let us be that resource for you, where we have a conversation around financial planning, what's important to you, because it's going to feed into the scenarios that you guys are thinking about day in and day out, right? I'm sure that after talking through some of those scenarios that I did, you guys have your own scenarios running through your head. Let us know what they are. We would love to collaborate with you in seeing if those goals are even viable. I'm sure you're comparing to which one is probably more viable than the next one, but reach out to us. Again, we'd love to help out with that. You can subscribe here. You can shoot me an email, phone call. We're on LinkedIn as well, and Facebook. So a lot of different ways to get in contact with us, so that we can start putting your plans and scenarios together to help you make the right decisions for you and your family. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate the time as always. I know this one wasn't as in depth, but it was more talking about what our capabilities are. But stay tuned for the next one, where we're probably maybe combine a couple 50 and 60-year-olds so that we can keep the conversation going. And then, as always, if there's a topic that you want to hear about, let us know. Again, reach out to us through the many different platforms that we have, and let us know what interests you, so we can keep the content relevant. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.